Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope everyone is at peace in your world. Welcome to a spiritual joint where cosmic whispers weave through the tapestry of soul and the sacred pen of Seshat inscribes our journey towards wholeness. Here we gather at the crossroads of mystery and light to explore the hidden realms, unlock timeless wisdom, and ignite the fire of transformation within. Together we honor the sacred dance of shadow and radiance, embracing the eternal flow of spirits unfolding. Breathe deeply, open your heart, and step into this circle, where soul speaks truth and every voice is a thread in the infinite web of life. So here we are today. We're going to take a little moment and talk about I'm going to talk a little bit more about winter, and then we're going to talk about this season that we are going into. So, I know some of you just got finished celebrating the Gregorian New Year. It's not the New Year for the planet, because those of you may recall in elementary school, we talked about the 4 seasons: spring, summer, autumn, and winter. Spring being the first season. When you're learning the seasons, we usually talk about spring first, and the reason for that is because spring is actually the season which started off the new year. It was based on the actual events in the heavens, in the celestial realm, which is connected to an actual event that occurs every year, which is the equinox. There are 2 equinoxes. One is in spring, one is in autumn, and then we also have 2 solstices. One is in summer, one is in winter. So at the spring equinox for the northern hemisphere, that is usually taking place in March. That may change as we continue on through this procession of the equinoxes, but currently it is in March. Procession of the equinoxes is based on the fact that there is a wobble and a movement of the earth on its axis as it also goes around the sun, and as it also moves throughout the Milky Way galaxy, which we are in, and then it also moves inside the other galaxies around it, but that's another story. So, because of this movement, the time that we actually pass the same point, the time that we actually get to the equinox, changes slightly, and I personally believe that it's because we are not using the correct base of numbers. Anyone out there want to help me figure that out? That would be cool, but I'm still believing that, I know that it's because we are not using the correct base. If you don't know what base is, if you check out math, I don't know if they still even teach that in school, but currently the number system that we use is base 10. You have a base of whatever, but I believe we're in the wrong base, and that's why we are using this 1260 numeration for counting, which is why we have 12 hours in a day, 360 degrees in a circle, and 60 seconds in a minute, those type of things. And the 360 of the circle makes it easy to divide as far as when you're using astronomical calculations as it relates to the movement of the heavens. It's a lot easier to divide if you're using the 1260, because they have stated that each constellation takes up 30 degrees in this circle, which gives you 12 equal sections of 30 degrees, but actually if you look at the sky and check out the constellations, all of them are not 30 degrees. 2 or 3 of them are actually under 20 degrees. There's 3, Ophiuchus, which they removed, Obeah, which they removed from the zodiac, even though it is on the elliptical. Granted, there are hundreds of constellations, but the ones that the sun moves on the elliptical that it moves through. There are actually 13, which coincide with the 13 moons that we go through each year, and that contributes to the naming of having a blue moon, which is 2 full moons in a 30-day period, or a black moon, which is 2 new moons in a 30-day period, or in a month, as they call it, directly coming from a month. But so just makes it easier to calculate. But if you think about the moons that we have, the months that we have, we've got some of them that are 30 days and some of them that are 31 days, and we even have one that is 28 days. A lot of this has to do with political battles and challenges and changing time cycles and seasons for political reasons. The reason July and August, which if you're following the cycle, it should be 30, 31, 30, 31. But because July and August have the same number of days, 31 days, which is the number that they stated was the maximum number you could have for a month, is because Julius Caesar and Augustus Caesar were battling with each other, and I believe it was Augustus Caesar felt, because he was also a Caesar. Caesar's a title, not a name. Caesar, Augustus Caesar, wanted to have the same status, so they created the month. They named the month August after him. Augustus, August, Julius, July, and gave it 31 days because he did not want to be less than Julius Caesar. So originally, the majority of ancient sacred cultures again started the year with the solstice. Forgive me, the equinox, which takes place when the sun reaches the same spot of pretty much equal sun and equal night time. So, again, we got this time wherein winter is the time when we should be slowing down and resting, rejuvenating, recuperating, releasing all those things that do not serve us, releasing those things that are not beneficial for us, and then planning for this new year. So in numerology, each number from 1 to 9, 0 is a special character. Each number has its particular meaning, and then you have what's called master numbers, which are numbers that have the exact same digits in it. So, it's got to be over 10. So 11, 22, 33, 44, 55, 66, 77, 88, 99. But there's usually more emphasis put on the 11 and the 22, and sometimes the 33. But the master numbers are numbers that resonate at a higher frequency. 11 is more commonly known as the gateway, the entrance, the opening into other realms, other opportunities, other beginnings. And 22 is usually the master teacher number, which is the double the energy of the 11. So it resonates at a higher frequency. It's also an opportunity, an opening, but it also includes the energy of teaching and learning, because in order to teach, you learn. In order to learn, you teach. So, let's see. Okay, so, winter begins actually on the winter solstice, which is in the northern hemisphere. And I forgot to mention already, the spring equinox, if you're in the southern hemisphere, happens at the opposite time. So the spring and autumn equinox, northern hemisphere, southern hemisphere, is the same as the autumn equinox, northern hemisphere, southern hemisphere for the spring. And the same with the solstice. So it's opposite because of the equator and the way the sun shines on the planet. The frequency, the energy is reversed or reciprocal, depending on how you check it out. So we have this time of the solstice, which is the beginning of winter. So this starts the time when it's the shortest in the northern hemisphere, the shortest day of the year, the longest in the southern hemisphere. So you have the change in the amount of sunlight you see. Northern hemisphere, this marks when days get longer. Southern hemisphere, this marks when the days get shorter. So it's more noticeable in regions, again, where you have 4 seasons. But again, this is winter. We're not even in the middle of winter yet. So how are we starting a new year? But again, that again could be possibly why, your resolutions may not be working for you, because we're not following the cycles, the rhythms, the frequency of the planet. This is a time of rest and rejuvenation, a time of germination. You plant your seeds and get ready so that when spring comes, when the new year comes, seeds can, plans, concepts are able to come forth as the sun moves to another place, which is now nourishing and giving and warming in preparation for this new life that is going to come forth. So with the numerology, when we do go into the new year in the spring, the year, each year has a specific energy for the year. You get that energy by adding the numbers of the year to get the energy of the year. So for this year, based on the Gregorian calendar, it is 2026. So that's 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 6, which is a 10. And 10 is a double digit, not a master number. So 1 plus 0 is 1. So this year that we are going into is a 1 year, which means we are starting, which means this is a new beginning. This is a start for this next 9-year cycle of what we plan on doing. So this is about, unity and creating and starting and all of these things. So this is perfect for this year as we move into spring to, do our planning for the year. So the other thing is, even though we are told that this is 2026 years from the 0 year, which is supposedly coinciding with the birth of the person called Yeshua. However, actually, if you ask most anthropologists, historians, the actual date, if this person if this person were to have lived would have been 3 years prior, so we're slightly off on that regard. However, so with this 1 year, this energy of one, the calculations numbers that I have is that we are actually 4.54.6 billion, 0.54.6. So 4,540,000,006 years that the Earth has been around. So if you take the 4 plus 5 plus 4 plus 6, you get a 19. And since that is a double digit, it is not a master number. You get 1 plus 9 equals a 10. Again, not a master number. 1 plus 0 is 1. So frequentially, energetically, we are still in that same cycle of energy. It's still a 1 year. It's just different numbers that we are working with. And the reason I say that is because, sometimes we can be led astray by the things that we are taught, as for instance with sidereal and tropical astrology. Tropical has a static fixed sign. It's always Aries, no matter what is in the sky. But the whole purpose of astronomy was the constellations, the figuration of the stars in the sky is the energies that are being exhibited at the time of whatever incident, situation that is occurring that you want to check out. So if you were to go outside on the equinox and look up at the sky, currently, again, because of the precession of equinoxes, we have Pisces, not Aries. So it's a whole different energy that we have going on. So all that to say, so many people are vested into this. It's always Aries. So that creates a certain energy around the Aries as the first sign concept. So with all those people vested in that, it does create a certain amount of energy. So it does still manifest in certain ways because so many people are invested in that energy, which is just like for the year energy, which is a 1. The energy for the year seems to be on a similar timeline because, like I said, based on my calculations, there's also a 1 year. So those energies are the same. However, there's also some differences because with the equinox being in spring, the actual new year, we'd actually have different energies for the months because the equinox would be the beginning of the first month of the year, which is why if you know numbers, prefixes, roots, words, and things like that, Sept is 7. So September is actually the 7th month, October the 8th, November the 9th, December the 10th. So that would give you a different numerical configuration for your life path and your destiny path and your personality, those different calculations you get from numerology. So those things would slightly change because you're going to be had a difference of 2. So this particular year, this season that we are going into right now is going to be very high energy because of based on different ancient calendars. The Gregorian calendar just started the new year, and in the cosmology of the Chinese, we will be going into the year of the fire horse. This is interesting because this only comes around every 60 years because you've got 12, they have 12 animals in their zodiac. So every 12 years, the horse astrological symbol comes around, but every 60 years it is combined with the element of fire. So it's been 60 years since the last fire horse, which was 1966. So any of you who were born in 1966, but you'd have to check the calendar and make sure, because some people in January, February might be in the previous sign. A very special year. It's kind of like a Saturn return. So this is a coming back to your birth, the energies of your birth year. So the fire horse is the fire energy. So we've got the horse is a symbol of freedom and change and breakthroughs and no fear of obstacles, motion, rapid change, fresh opportunity. So again, this going into this new year, we've got this coinciding with that. This time for personal growth, faster pace of life, energy, and dynamism. And this intensity, because we're leaving the wood snake, which was about shedding your skin, shedding that which doesn't serve, shedding that which does not belong. So we're releasing all of that, and it's interesting. So now if we're leaving that and we're coming into the fire horse. So this right now, if we're following the energies of right now, this is a time again of rejuvenation. So we're getting ready for this, coming into this fire horse year and then coming into this equinox year. So one thing that is be beneficial is to make sure that you are grounding yourself with some type of activity, some meditation, some tai chi, some yoga, because of all this energy that we have coming in. It can be offsetting, so you need to be making sure that your nervous system is balanced. And because of these energies, it's good idea, to balance balance your movement, but also make sure you're getting your peace. Make sure you are being open to being spontaneous, but also make sure that you are leaving space to relax. So we want to let go of the past, let go of those things that don't serve, and also move into reigniting your inner you. So this year is going to be a very important year of development, with all these things going on the planet, I'm not going to get into it too much, but if you've been paying attention to the news, the different things that are happening, seems like it's tempting to trigger a lot of people and divide people more than they already are. And the game it's always been about divide and conquer. We've got liberals, we've got conservatives, we've got Democrats, we've got Republicans, we've got short people, tall people, people of color, people of no color, people in America, people in Thailand, all of these things. And not that it's not important, and not that it doesn't matter, about your culture or your ethnicity or those things. But at the end of the day, the bottom line, we are human beings who are desiring to have this human experience and have it be the best it can be. But these divisive things that come to play, is a lot of things. This dichotomous things, this duality, and it's just a means to keep us apart. Means to keep us separate, means to keep us from not coming together and looking at what's really going on, what it is that we really need to be doing. Because at the end of the bottom line, people want food, clothing, shelter, education, possibly, safety. Everybody, just about everybody would want those things. If we could just put our other differences aside for a moment and just get everybody squared up on those simple things, that would alleviate a lot of the issues that some people may have. But I don't want to digress on that too far. So let's see. So again, with this year of the horse, this is also going to be a potent combination to bring about a year of liberation, creative ignition, and spiritual evolution. So a lot of things are going to be happening. We need to stay tuned, keep connected, and be focused on the things that we want to achieve. And again, this creative alchemy, so that lines up with the new year, with the creative energies, the inspirational energies that are going to be coming in. And then also on the Mayan calendar, we are closing out this last Trecena, which is in Rabbit, and moving into also the beginning of the Tzolk'in, which begins in February. Where's my date? I'm sorry. February. No, I'm sorry, not February. The 23rd of January. So we got the Gregorian New Year just started. The Tzolk'in is starting January 23rd. The Chinese New Year is starting the 17th of February, which also coincides with the first eclipse of the year, an annular lunar. I'm sorry. A solar eclipse this year. And it actually ends next year. The Chinese year of the fire horse also ends on an eclipse. So we're going into this eclipse season, and then we will also be going into our other favorite time of the year, which is the Mercury retrograde, which will be in Aquarius. So there's a lot of energies coming together in these next 3 months as we close out the celestial year and move into the new year, the first of the year, the celestial new year. Oh, I'm sorry, hit my headphones. So let's see what else I want to say. So again, some things you can do is make sure you're doing some grounding work. Make sure you're doing some Tai Chi, some yoga, some meditation for grounding, but also being open to actions that may come. But also keep your focus. Don't go too far astray. Keep your focus on what it is that you want to create, what it is that you want to build, to start, because we're starting this new one. And being in alignment makes things easier to flow, which is why we talk about these resolutions and they don't come to pass, because we are not in alignment with the planet, which makes it harder, because the external energy is that of enjoyment, excitement, jumping around and happy and celebrating, when the actual energies of the planet, which are in the ethers, which you can feel, which do affect us, are that of closing, reflecting, introspection, those type of things. When you have these two polar opposite energies going at the same, it can only lead to confusion. Yeah, so that will help the movement exercises. See, carnelian is a good crystal. Rose quartz and tiger's eye would also be good for that. Doing so the horse is coming in, so that's going to be on the solar eclipse. That's that new energy coming in. So that is a good time to set goals, set intentions. Decide what it is that you want to create. I'm looking at my notes, I'm sorry. There's a lot. I hope this isn't too long for you all. And also journaling and gratitude. So those are always things that are good to do. Journaling to keep track of your thoughts, your emotions, and feelings. And then also gratitude. It doesn't have to be major or big, even being grateful for fresh air, being grateful for water, the beach, being able to walk, just simple things, just 3 things that you are grateful for each day and each night. Puts you in a cycle of as you're giving this gratitude, it opens you up for receiving things. And I think that's all we're gonna do right now. I might expound on this a little more, but I don't want to get too long. So that is what we have for right now. Thank you for being here. As we close this circle in a spiritual joint, may the echoes of this sacred fire linger within your soul. Carry the wisdom of the stars, the silent song of the moon, and the gentle whisper of ancient truths as your guiding light. Step softly onto your unfolding path, embracing the shadow and the light, knowing that every breath is a thread woven into the infinite tapestry of the spirit. Until we meet again beneath the cosmic sky, walk in radiant grace, wholeness, and peace.